Hi guys, it's Rishabh Jain at the Logical Owl. Hope you're having a great day today. In today's video, we are going to talk about loan schedules and we'll continue with the topic. But before that, we'll first have a quick revision of what we just learned in the previous video. So, we talked about loans and we saw three methods to pay back the loan amount that we borrowed at time 0 for 10 years. So in the first option, we saw that we pay nothing for the 10 years and at the end of 10 years, we pay back both the interest part and the capital part of the loan. Or you can say we pay the accumulated amount of 1000 rupees at the end of 10th year. This option is not a very good option to pay back the loan because you have to save for 10 years and then you are paying the complete amount in a single installment. So in the second option, what we saw, in second option we saw that we pay back the loan in different installments, but the installment that we pay at the end of every year only contains the interest part. So for example, if we took a loan of 1000 rupees at time 0, the interest part for the first year is 100 rupees. I am assuming an interest rate of 10%. So we pay 100 rupees at time 1, that is in respect of the interest amount on 1000 rupees. Or you can say you are paying nothing as a capital on this loan. So we took an amount of 1000 rupees and we have, after the payment of 100 rupees at time 1, still the balance of loan is 1000 because the 100 rupees that you have paid at 1 is with respect to the interest part and you have paid nothing as capital. So the loan outstanding is still 1000 rupees at the end of first year. Similarly, again for the second year the interest will be 100 and so on. You pay 100 rupees as interest at the end of every year, and this loan amount, original loan amount that you took at time 0, you will pay this amount at time 10 or at the end of the last year, or you can say at the end of the tenure. So this was the second option of paying back the loan, but still we see that there are some flaws in this option, and the flaws are that you still have to manage this capital amount at the end of the term. Let's say the loan amount was very huge amount. Let's say you borrowed 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs amount for 10 years. Now the flaw in this second option is that you are paying only the interest part, which is very much less than the capital part at the end of every year. So you have to manage this 20 lakh or 10 lakh rupees at the end of the term to repay back the loan. Okay, so we move on to our next option, that is mortgage loan option. In this repayment option, what we do, this capital part that we were paying completely at the end of the term, we also divide this capital part in the number of installment that we are paying. So what we do, let's say I have taken a loan for 10 years and I have taken a loan of, let's say, or let me draw it again. Let's say I have taken a loan of 1 lakh rupees from a bank. Okay. Now in this option, the banker, since I have taken the mortgage loan payment option, the banker will ask me that the number of installment I am willing to pay for the loan. So let's say I want to pay at the end of every year one installment. So I want to pay here. So I have told the bank that I want to pay back the loan in 10 installment. So you tell me how much amount I should pay at the end of every year for 10 years, so that by the end of 10th year I have paid back both the capital and the interest part. So what bank will do? Bank will choose an amount. Let's say bank have told you that you have to pay X amount at the end of every year for 10 years. Now if you make these payments successfully at the end of every year for 10 years, then by the end of the 10th year you will have paid both the interest part and the capital part on the loan. That is, you have paid both the interest on this 1 lakh for 10 years and the capital itself 1 lakh rupees by the 10th year. And you do not need to pay any additional amount at time 10 or in between of the term. So this is the great advantage you have in a mortgage loan, which is that with the installments you are also paying the capital. So it kind of reduces the burden on the payer, or you can say on the person who have borrowed the loan, or the borrower. So this is a very good option, and generally we see that these are the options that we normally take the loan in those terms. Now let me tell you about these excess that you are paying at the end of every year. Now I will break this X into two parts. These installments that you are paying contain both the interest part and the capital or loan part of the amount you have borrowed. The one most important thing about the mortgage loan option is that these installments, that is these excess, should always contain the interest part first, and then whatever amount is left, you pay that amount as capital. So for example, if you are considering, let's say 10% interest rate, then the interest on this 1 lakh rupees for the first year is 10,000. So your X should be greater than 10,000, because that is what your interest amount is for the first year. And if this X amount is not greater than 10,000, that means you are not even able to pay the interest part on the loan. So how are you going to repay back the loan in 10 years? The reason we are paying more than the interest is to reduce the balance of loan by the end of the first year. So we have three options. Let's say first option is X equals to 10,000. Second option is X is greater than 10,000. And third option is X is less than 10,000. And we'll see what happens in these three options. In the first option, what we'll have, we have 1 lakh amount here, and by the end of the first year we are paying only 10,000 at time 1. So 10,000 is the interest part for the first year. So since we have paid only the interest part and we have paid nothing as the capital or in respect to the loan amount, so the loan balance after this payment of 10,000 rupees, the loan balance will again be 1 lakh itself, because you have paid the interest part for the first year and you have paid nothing as capital. So now we see what happens when the X amount is greater than 10,000. In this option we have the same figure at time 0, but let's assume that we are paying 15,000 instead of 10,000 at time 1. That is, the first installment is 15,000, which is greater than 10,000. Sorry, it is 10,000. Okay. Now what will happen? The interest part will still again be 10%. Since the interest rate is 10%, we have not changed that. So the interest for the first year will be 10% on 1 lakh rupees, that is 10,000 rupees. But now at time 1 we are paying extra amount than interest. Interest is only 10,000 and we are paying 15,000. So this extra 5,000 that we have paid will be paid off as the capital, and it will get reduced from the loan amount. That means the 15,000 that we are paying, 10,000 is for the interest part and 5,000 is for this loan part. So after the payment of 15,000, the loan part will reduce by 5,000 and we will have 95,000 as the balance after the first payment. Now we'll see a last option when X is less than 10,000. In this case, what will happen? You will never be able to pay back the loan. So we have same figures again, but this time at time 1, let's say we are paying only 8,000 as our installment. Again, the interest rate is going to be same, and for the first year the interest part will again be 10,000 rupees. But now you are paying only 8,000. So your installment is not even covering the interest part. So what this will have a negative impact on the loan. And how is that? Since you are not able to pay the interest part, your loan amount will increase by the deficit that you are having. So the balance after this payment will increase your loan by 2000. That means the amount that you were not able to pay as interest will be added to the loan amount. So your loan amount has increased to 1,02,000. So this was what we learned in the earlier video, and additional thing that we learned was the notation. So we see LT it is the loan outstanding amount after the payment at time t. You have to remember this is the important part in this, after the payment at time t. Then we see xt is the installment at time t, and since we generally take level installments, so all xt's are equal to x. Then we learned about ft and bt. And what is this xt and bt? We saw that ft and bt are nothing but the capital and the interest part in this installment. Capital part in xt, interest part in xt. So for example, in this, or you can say this one, in the second option, when we paid 15,000, so our x1 was equals to 15,000, our f1 was equal to 5,000, since the capital amount is in this x1 was 5,000, and b1 was equal to 10,000. That is the interest part in this loan. And lastly, we saw two methods to calculate this LT amount. And what is this? This is LT. We saw two methods to calculate the loan outstanding amount at any time t. And for that, we saw two methods. The first method was retrospective method. In this method, what we do, we look back in time. So let's say we take a loan of L0 amount. Now the reason I have written this as L0 is because L0 denotes the loan outstanding amount after the payment at time 0. And since the loan is starting at time 0, so we have no payment at time 0. That's why L0 denotes the loan amount. And let's say we have a general time t in between, and we have a payment of x1 here, x2 here, x3 here. I'm writing them as x1, x2 and x3, but they are all equal to x's if we talk about the level payments. And similarly here it will be t plus 1, t plus 2, and this will continue till n. This n represents the tenure of the loan. So if we want to calculate the amount LT at time t, now what LT will be? LT will mean the loan outstanding after the payment of this xt at time t. That means at t time, after that we have after the payment that has been done, or you can say after paying the installment at time t, whatever loan amount we still owe to the bank is equal to LT. And let's say we want to calculate that LT directly at time t. In retrospective method, what we see that the loan amount that we take initially was L0. So LT is equals to that loan amount. But since this L0 times 0 and we are considering amount at LT, so we have to accumulate this L0 till time t. So this will give the accumulated loan amount that, or you can say, let's assume that we have not paid x1, x2, x3 and so on until time t. We have made no payment, not even xt. In this case, if suppose I want to calculate the amount of loan at time t, so since I have made no payments, so I will, if I would have not paid any amount till time t, then I would be liable to pay this much amount L0 into 1 plus I to the power t, that is the accumulated amount of loan at time t. But in this case, since we have paid payments of x1 here, x2 here, x3 here, and xt here, we have made the payments. So what we'll do, we'll subtract the value of these payments in terms of time t. In terms of time t means I am standing at time t, I am considering x1. So I will accumulate x1 till here, x2 till here, and x3 till here, and so on, all the payments at time t. So I will less this x1 amount, but first accumulate it to time t. So it will be t minus 1. Similarly, x2 and so on minus xt, since xt is already on time t. So now we have L0 minus, if you take the minus common, you see that what we are actually doing, we are taking these amounts x1, x2, x3 and xt at time t. So in a way, you are calculating the accumulated value of an annuity that is payable in arrears at the end of every year. Okay, so I can take the minus sign common and write it as x s t. What this denotes? This denotes the future value or the accumulated value of an annuity of amount x payable at the end of every year, and this value will come out at time t. So if you use this method, if you use this equation, you will get directly the value of loan outstanding amount, and we see the reason behind that, and we understood the mathematics behind that concept. Second method that we had studied already was prospective method. In prospective method 2, what we do, we have a time t, we have taken a loan of L0 for n years, and we make payments of till time n. In this method, the basic difference is that instead of calculating the accumulated value, we calculate the present value of these future payments at time t, and you can forget this amount xt. So you can tell it this amount is xt plus 1, this is xt plus 2, and this is xn. And since the amounts are all same, so it doesn't matter whether you write this in subscript or not. So in prospective method, the value of loan at time t after the payment or installment at time t is equals to the present value of the future payments. And you can write directly it as x an, x a n minus t. And if you want to know the more details about this concept, if you want to know why exactly we are calculating present value, you must refer to my previous video. I have made this video, the revision video, because I have been receiving some queries about the language in video I've used. So up until now I was conducting the videos in Hindi. So since we are starting a new chapter, so I thought I will give a quick revision about the loan schedules chapter in English once again, so people don't find it difficult to get the concept from this chapter. Okay, so this was all that we learned in the previous video. If you still have any doubt or you want a detailed explanation, you can visit my page and watch the video related to that topic. So we move ahead now, and in this chapter our motive will be to calculate a few things. So until now we only talked about LT. We saw different methods to calculate this LT, and that were retrospective and prospective. Now in the further discussion we will also concentrate on these two things, FT and BT. That is, from now on we'll look at methods to calculate interest and capital elements in the installment. So we will see methods, and we will look at ways to calculate this capital part and this interest part in the installment at time T. So in short, we are going to answer a few questions. So the first question is, how much So the first question that we are going to answer is, how much interest is paid in the TH installment? Second problem we will look at is, how much capital is paid in the TH installment? And the third, we'll talk about how much interest or capital is paid between time, or you can say between two time periods. So in the first and second one, we will do nothing but to calculate the interest and capital part in any installment. The third part is an important one, and in that we will see how to calculate the interest and capital part between between two installments. So let's say I have first installment at xt and second installment at xt plus n. And if I want to calculate how much interest I have paid in between these years, or how much capital I have paid back in these years, so how to calculate that? So we move with the first question, that is calculating interest amount in any installment. Please excuse me for my handwriting. So in this first part, let's say I have taken a loan, and this is time t minus 1, this is time t, and this is time t plus 1, and the payments will be respectively like this: xt minus 1, xt, and xt plus 1. No doubt on that part. Obviously the balance of loan or the outstanding loan or capital at time t minus 1 after the installment at t minus 1 will be LT minus 1, similarly LT here, and LT plus 1 here. Now my motive is to calculate how much interest I have paid in this duration. First I will calculate the interest in this duration, and then again in this duration. Okay. So first first let's talk about this duration. So this duration starts at the year t and at the end of year t. Now I want to calculate the interest part in this xt installment. You see, since we are paying the installments in arrears, so this xt installment is paid for this year. This payment is for this year, this payment is for this year, and this payment is for previous year. So the interest part in the xt will be for the year that I have marked with the red line. So the balance of loan at the start of the year was this one, LT minus 1. So LT minus 1 was the initial, or you can say the balance or loan outstanding at the start of the year, and this is the amount that we will pay interest on in this year. And since the interest rate is I, so we can multiply it by I. So this will give us the interest part in xt. Let's call it I1. So I1 equal to LT minus 1 into I. So it's simple. Now you tell me, you can pause the video and tell me how you will calculate this I2. I2 is the interest part in the installment xt plus 1 or for the year xt plus 1. So pause the video. I am going to write the solution now. I hope you answered the question right. So it was simple, nothing new. So the interest part will be LT into I. Now we talk about a second problem, that is calculating the capital amount in an installment. And let's call an installment xt. Now you tell me, how will you use the understanding that we have learned so far and use the concept, and tell me how you will calculate this capital part in xt from the previous concept that we have learned. You can pause the video, think about how you can apply those concepts and what is actually the capital part and how you can calculate it. So I told you that xt is made up of two things, the interest part and the capital part. We saw how to calculate the interest part in the previous section, so all we are left with calculating the capital part. So you can directly calculate the capital part as x minus the interest part. It is as simple as that. So the capital part is called ft, so it will be xt minus bt. So this is the first way of calculating the capital amount, that is, you subtract the interest paid in that installment from the installment and you get the capital part. Second, and a more better way of calculating the capital part is this. So let me write it. First method. Method 1, ft equal to xt minus bt, and we already know how to calculate bt. Let me write it here. bt equal to I LT minus 1. So this is the general rule for calculating interest. Okay, now we look at method 2. In method 2, let's consider this timeline. Again we have time t minus 1, t and t plus 1, and LT minus 1, LT and LT plus 1. We are interested in calculating the capital part in this year, in the 10th year. So I want to know my FT. So what will be my FT? My FT will be, in the previous video I explained you the reason why this LT is a decreasing function of time. So when we move ahead in time, this LT decreases and the only reason it decreases that we pay the capital part. So let's say LT minus 1, or let's make a new example. So let's say you took a loan of 1 lakh rupees at time 0. At time 1, let's say you pay 15,000. Okay, so the interest part was 10,000, but you are paying 5,000. That's why your loan amount reduced to 95,000. We saw this example in the starting of the video too. So if I want to calculate the capital amount that is being paid in the first year, so how I can calculate that? I will take the difference of this amount and this amount, because this difference is only the main reason. So the only reason the amount decreases is due to the capital. So you can directly calculate your FT as LT minus 1 minus LT. Similarly, if you want to calculate the interest part for this year from T to T plus 1, that is year T plus 1, what you can do? You can calculate it as FT plus 1 equal to, take the initial LT minus then the end capital LT plus 1. So this way you can calculate the capital part in any installment XT. In the next part, we consider our third problem, that is calculating interest or capital paid over several installments. Now consider this example. This is time T. Okay. So we are considering a duration of 5 years. And we are paying the installment as XT, XT plus 1, XT plus 2, XT plus 5. Okay. And if I want to know how much interest is paid in these 5 installments, or you want to know how much capital I have paid in these 5 years, how to calculate that? In the earlier section, we talked about calculating these amounts over a single installment, but now there are total 5 installments that we have to consider. So in this part, what we'll do, first let's say we want to calculate the capital part. So how do we calculate the capital part? What you do, first of all, always consider the time that is being considered. Here we have to calculate the interest paid in this duration from time T to T plus 5. So the initial time is T and the ending time is T plus 5. So you calculate the amount LT here, you calculate the amount LT plus 5 here, and you take the difference of this amount. And I explained you earlier in the above section, when you take the difference of this amount, the difference is due to the capital that is being paid in these 5 years. So whatever amount comes is the capital paid in these 5 years. So 5 years denoted by pink line. So this is the end of first year, this is the end of second year, third year, fourth year, and fifth year. So if you take the difference of LT and LT plus 5, you get the total amount of capital paid in these 5 years. So we have calculated the first part. We now know how to calculate the capital part, and it's very easy. You just take the difference between the outstanding loan amount for the time that we are considering. Here we want to calculate from this time to this time, so we take the difference of LT and LT plus 5. So that was the first part. Now you tell me the total amount that we have paid in these 5 years. I'm not asking you the amount of capital or interest. I'm just asking you the total amount that you have paid in this year. So if you want to calculate the total amount that you have paid, regardless of whether it was interest or capital, it will be equal to xt plus 1 plus xt plus 2 xt plus 5. Now don't consider the time, don't consider this payment xt, because this xt is for this year and we are considering our time from t to t plus 5. So we are time is starting here from, we are starting from time t. So we will start from the year, this year. So the first payment is xt, then xt plus 2, 3, 4 and 5. So total we have paid, the total amount we have paid is xt plus 1, xt plus 2, xt plus 3 and till xt plus 5. Now you know one thing, that the installments contain only two parts, interest part and capital part. So the total amount you have paid contains the interest part of 5 years and the capital part of 5 years. But you have already calculated the capital part of the 5 years. So what you can do, the total amount of interest, total interest paid in 5 years, how you can calculate that? So this is nothing, don't get confused, it is just writing in a simpler form. Okay, so from the total amount you are subtracting the capital part. So what you did, you took the total amount paid in 5 years and you subtracted the and by this what you get the so this way you can calculate any amount that you want to calculate for any duration. So with this I want to end this video, and there's only one more topic that is left in this video or in this chapter, that is installments payable more frequently than annually. In that topic there is nothing new, you will not learn anything new, but you already have learned that. So in that topic we will consider what will happen if our installments are paid more frequently than annually. That means we will consider payments made yearly. Up until now we have considered payments in arrears at the end of every year, but in that part we will cover more frequent payments like monthly payments, half yearly payments and quarterly payments, because loan amounts are generally paid that way. You will very rarely find a setting where you are paying mortgage loan in yearly payments. So generally they are paid in monthly basis. So we will cover that part in next video, and also the most important thing that we'll do in next video is we'll try to solve as many as questions possible from the book. We'll try some examples, we will do some exam style questions from the questions that are given at the back of the chapter, because this is a much calculated chapter and the examinations have always tested these concepts in the test. So we'll try to do as many questions as possible, and if you still have any query or you want me to solve many questions, or you're having doubt sessions, you can always comment in the comment section. So I will look at your queries and try to solve them as soon as possible. So thank you guys, thanks for watching the video, see you guys in next video.